I'm keeping an eye on the clock, trying to hit it on the button. Bingo. When I was in law school, one of my closest friends, really my only close friend in law school, was Jonathan Newman. We remain very close friends today. And Jonathan, some of you will know, particularly you Pennsylvanians, went on to become the chairman of the Liquor Control Board and truly single-handedly turned around the perception of Pennsylvania state stores. Do you remember his chairman's selections? I mean, he was just like, he didn't need the job. He was totally into it. And he was like a miracle worker. Really had a great reign. He's a good guy. Anyway, we meet. This is going somewhere. And I just thought of this as I put in the notations before I started. So roll with me here for a second. So in our first year of law school, well, I should say this, Jonathan's parents, Julius Newman, Dr. Jules Newman, Dr. Nose, he was a very successful plastic surgeon, real character, real funny guy, real smart guy. Sadly, he's gone. Jonathan's mother would go on to become a Pennsylvania Supreme Court Justice, Sandra Schultz Newman. At the time, though, in law school, she was a very accomplished, powerful, suburban divorce lawyer. So, you know, Jonathan had these two type A, extremely successful parents. Now we're in law school together. We literally met in the men's room, like on the first day of class, and recognized at that time we were both into conservative politics. So Jonathan's parents had made investments in horses, trotters. You know, I'm not like the expert on this, but the trotter is where like the jockey sits behind on a little cart, almost like a rickshaw, instead of on the horse. Some of you are laughing at me already, like, yeah, we know this part. So Jonathan one day in the midst of finals says to me, one of my parents' trotters, it may have been a horse called Nihilator, because Nihilator set all these records, was running at, I want to say, Delaware Park. And he's like, you know, do you want to go? And I said, yeah, I'm up for it. So the two of us in the midst of finals, we go down to Delaware Park to watch one of his parents' horses run. Jonathan was totally into it. And the horse, let's just say it was Nihilator, wins. Now, I'd never been to anything like this before. I didn't know the drill that if you're one of the owners, you get to go in the winner's circle. Like you see this at the Kentucky Derby, right? But I didn't know if you're at Delaware Park, you get to go to the winner's circle. So the two of us go down into the winner's circle. No one else representative of the ownership of the horse was there. Just us. We are two college-y, first-year law school, you know, looking the part, not dressed, just, you know, two guys like hanging out at the track on a night we shouldn't have been there. And we had our pictures taken with the horse. I have this picture. And if I think of it, I'll put it in social media this week. So we, you know, fun time, high five. We probably bet, you know, $2 on the race. And now we go back to law school and we forget about it. Except a week or two later, the photograph gets sent to his parents. and, you know, there's the picture of the two of us and the horse and the date. And I think it was his mom. I think it was Justice Newman who like does the calculation and realizes, hey, this was finals. Like, what the hell were you guys doing that night at Delaware Park? And they're very upset with us, but they got over it. Yeah. I'm telling you this because today is a big day for horse racing in the state of Pennsylvania at Parks. It is the Bet Parks Derby and Cotillion Day. Cotillion. TC used to go to cotillions. She's always telling me stories about like her white gloves, and the North Carolina School of Animal Husbandry and Science apparently had cotillions every year. This is a different kind of cotillion at Parks today because the cotillion race is the second race, two different $1 million races. This is the 3-year-old fillies. So, yeah, TC, put your dress, you know, away. You won't need it at Parks today. The Pennsylvania Thoroughbred Horsemen's Association and Parks Racing present $2 million races in one day, featuring some of the top horses, jockeys, and trainers from all across the country. This is at Parks Racing, the horse track, which is next to the casino. Easily accessible off I-95. Bad weather this weekend. This seems like a fun thing to do on an otherwise miserable weekend. This year's championship ambassadors, a couple of fan favorites. Philly hockey's Keith Jones will be there. Philly football favorite Seth Joyner's going to be there. Kane Callis, as in son of Harry, is going to perform God Bless America. Live music with Fish Out of Water, the Uptown String Band. It's going to be fun. It is fun to see them run, as they say. Got to be 18 to wager at Parks Racing. Need to be 21 to gamble at Parks Casino. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Maybe you'll see me in the winner's circle with my buddy Jonathan Newman. Funny story, right? Yeah, okay. So I'm doing, on CNN today, I'm doing immigration. I'm doing the problem at the border. I don't think it gets enough attention in certain quarters. And I think we have a very provocative poll question: which will be a more potent political issue in 2024, abortion or the border? And we already know the potency of abortion. I'm looking at a Washington Post story from just after the midterms, which says voters across the country delivered a series of decisive victories for abortion rights on Tuesday in the first nationwide election since the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade. And it talks about how, and this is after Kansas, it talks about how in Kentucky, Republican, right-leaning Kentucky, where an anti-abortion amendment was defeated. Michigan, where Gretchen Whitmer was reelected in part by presenting herself as a champion of abortion rights. North Carolina, not exactly a blue state, more mixed. Republicans failed to win a veto-proof legislative supermajority, ensuring Democratic Governor Roy Cooper will continue to have the power to block abortion restrictions. I could go on, but there have been any number of instances where post-Dobbs, post-overturning of Roe versus Wade, people have said, wow, voters are still upset about abortion rights, and they're coming out, especially women are coming out to vote. I think that's clearly established. But now comes the situation on the border. And, the data is just stunning. Like 10,000 people crossed the border on Monday alone. And I think that number was replicated on Wednesday. Here's something more indicative of the crisis. I've got all this data in front of me. Agents have apprehended roughly 140,000 migrants who have crossed the U.S.-Mexico border without authorization. I think that's CNN speak for illegally. During the first 20 days of September, an average of about 6,900 a day. It represents a 60% increase from the daily average in July. Over the past 2.5 years, Border Patrol has recorded unprecedented levels of migrant apprehensions, including 2.2 million in fiscal year 2022. Whenever I hear apprehensions, because that's the number we get, the number of apprehensions, okay? Well, those are the ones we're aware of. So what's the real number? If those are the ones who were caught, how many got through? And I was just reading in the New York Times this morning, front page story, photograph above the fold. I was just reading about the pressure that Mexico is under. Where are most of the folks who are coming to the United States from? You've got a number from Mexico, right? I mean, Mexico, where we learned from this week from data in Science magazine, 175,000 people are employed by the cartels, making it the 5th largest employer. So Mexico, a lot of folks come here illegally from, but those who are coming through Mexico, where are they from? Let's a little quiz here. Where was Kamala Harris named to be the czar for? Central America, right? A triangular grouping of nations in Central America. Okay, here's now the update. Mexico is actually receiving, for the first time since they've recorded these things, more folks from South America than Central America. Whoa. So now they're all coming up. I don't think, and I'll ask my guest today, who is a former head of the former border chief. Sorry, I'll get it straight when I introduce Rodney Scott on television. But now there's going to be this added pressure brought to bear on Mexico. And I don't think the ultimate destination of people fleeing South American nations is to end up in Mexico. Do you? Are they saying, hey, we got to get out of this place. Let's go to Mexico? I don't think so. So this is a huge issue. Let me share something else with you that I learned about this. And my poll question today at Smerconish.com, as I said, is asking which is more potent politically. These shifting migration patterns are particularly visible in the Darien Gap, the narrow stretch of jungle terrain connecting Colombia and Panama. Venezuelans and Ecuadorians are the most prominent nationalities passing through there, where the boom in migrant crossings has become a multi-million-dollar business. In 2022, nearly 250,000 people crossed the jungle, an annual record. This year, that number has risen to 380,000 as of September 18, according to Panamanian authorities. Several factors are driving the exodus. Mexico is expected to receive a record 150,000 asylum applicants in 2023. In 2022, they processed 118,000. Look, I get it. I mean, American businesses, like this issue with the Venezuelans, the 500,000 who are here unauthorized, a lot of American employers, they need that workforce. But what kind of a message does it send when the administration says to the world, we're going to allow those 500,000 to stay here and work here for the next 18 months? And by the way, does anybody think that at the end of 18 months, they're leaving? Hell no. So if I'm in Venezuela and I hear that my cousin or my sister's nephew's uncle's brother was just allowed to stay in the United States, what am I looking to do? I want to go there too. It's a huge issue. Can I offer you the solution? I cannot. I only know that for all the discussion and the growth of this problem, we seem no clearer, no closer to a solution. And I think it's a huge issue. I don't know, man. I don't know about the poll question today. I don't know. I think it's very, very close. I think it could be border control, especially because the footage is such that you get to play it on a loop. And you know at Fox, they run and love running on a loop all of the, and it's a serious issue. It deserves attention. It's why I'm doing it today on CNN. But they're going to play it ad nauseum. So abortion, border, each side's got an arrow in their quiver to really drive their base in the presidential race. On top of everything else, you know, Trump's criminal indictments, Biden's age, the economy, there's a lot. But these two are really drivers. Neither side needs to gin up a cultural issue. They got something. Rodney Scott is going to be my guest on that. Did you see my quote that I put in the chat? I want to get it right. If you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play good. If you play good, they pay good. Today at 3:30 Eastern time, I guess 12:30 local time, the Oregon Ducks hosting the Colorado Buffaloes. I have Stephen A. Smith with me on CNN today to talk about Deion Sanders, Coach Prime. My T-shirt has still not arrived. Maybe it'll come today from the Fanatics, and then I'll be able to wear it during the game. I'm going to watch that. I'm keenly interested to see what happens to Colorado today. I took Colorado with the 21 points. I couldn't sit it out. I hope that this doesn't become a divisive issue where we read politics into it and so forth. It's just fun. It's just fun. And I said on radio this week, I need to have a plot line. I need to have a personality that I can root for or root against. But so far, I'm rooting for Deion Sanders and I'm rooting for Colorado. Just totally shaking it up in no time. And by the way, that quote of his about looking good, feeling good, getting paid well, takes me to another subject I'm doing today on CNN, which is the Senate dress code. Rhonda Gerlich was my guest a couple of days ago. She's a professor and has academic credentials in this area. She wrote a piece for the New York Times that fortuitously just got published today. And she makes a point here in print that she made with me on radio this week, which is that, in these divided, this is my way to paraphrase it. In these divided political times, when there's so much that separates the politicians and they're constantly at one another, dress, or at least a style of dress, was a unifier. And she argues this is only going to accentuate the divide, which I thought was pretty interesting. I also have an academic publication, a peer-reviewed publication, where they said among public servants that, good things happen when there's a uniform being worn. Well, the uniform is like a suit jacket. Listen to me. I'm wearing my dead hat while I'll take it off and I'll tighten up my tie while I'm having this conversation. I'll look the part on CNN. Now I'm feeling like I'm a hypocrite because I'm wearing a baseball cap and my tie's not tight. Oh man. All right. Well, gang, thank you all for being here. Please like a little something for the effort, a couple of likes. Come on. That's not enough. That's not enough. I'm here and I'm juggling for you on a Saturday morning. Thank you so much for watching, for liking, subscribing. I'm loving that 75.58% open rate on the newsletter. Holy smokes. And did you see the cartoons this week? The cartoons from Steve Breen, Jack Oman, Rob Rogers. Damn, they were good. We're going to show a couple of them on CNN today because they're just that good. So I appreciate you is what I'm really trying to say. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you on TV at 9 a.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. replay, and then radio on Monday. See you, gang.